All right, bro. You made it through customs. No search and seizure.
Barely.
No jail time, huh?
There was search. There was no seizure this time. They didn't take my protein.
What about your fruits and vegetables?
I wouldn't even try, man. I've almost gotten arrested several times trying to bring in protein, let alone fruits and vegetables.
Why are they so serious about fruits and vegetables, man? I mean, I get it, but I don't get it.
It's some disease or pathogen thing, I guess.
Yeah, but a little disease isn't going to hurt anybody.
Yeah, just make it stronger.
Absolutely.
Builds our immunity, like flu shot. Like everyone should get touched by a little polio just to build immunity of polio.
We still do. Now, are you old enough? We're about the same age. I think I got a. I don't think I got a polio vaccination.
Yeah, you did.
We did?
They make you.
We
We probably got it when we were like a year old or something.
Yeah, but they stopped doing it because
No,
polio's
it's still a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's a big anti-vaxxer thing.
Oh, okay. My mistake.
Yeah.
I think you're still like a matter of months younger than me. So respect your elders.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Seriously. Don't embarrass me on your podcast. So you've traveled, you've seen things, you've done things.
Many things.
There'll be plenty of time to discuss things. But if there's one thing I know about Dr. Jacob Oman, it's that he's a friendly guy. He meets people, he makes friends. So like
So many new friends.
give me a memorable like friend experience or whatever it is. Tell me about this trip.
Yeah, so I've talked about Jesus.
Your Lord and Savior?
Yeah, a.k.a. Rasputin from my friend in Denmark, right?
I believe so, but if you're new to the show, a little refresher maybe.
Yeah, so I was in Copenhagen 7 months ago, did some shows, met some people, and I made friends with this older gentleman who I think looks like Rasputin, so I call him Rasputin. But a lot of other people call him Jesus. It's like a 50-50 thing because people think he looks like Jesus.
But he looks more like Aryan Jesus if he's going to look like a Jesus, right?
Absolutely. He's very white because Rasputin was very white. So personally to me, I think he looks like a Rasputin. And neither really is like a compliment on his aesthetically pleasing qualities though.
I mean, if you were going to rate him on a scale, how close is he to a 10?
I mean, I don't think you should rate someone that people call Jesus any less than a 10 just for karma's sake. But let's just say on the Rasputin scale, he's a 10. He looks like Rasputin.
Full out Sputy. Gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Rasputin and I became boys last time. So when I mentioned coming back to Denmark this time to my friend Jesper, he was with Jesus, and Jesus demanded...
Jesper was dead?
Well, yeah, he was with Jesus. And well, the way he lives his life, you never know what's going to happen. But he's still with us now, thank God.
And his son, apparently.
Yep. So Jesus apparently was with Jesper at this time, and I'm going to call him Jesus and Rasputin interchangeably. And it was like, oh, Jesus demands that you stay with him on this trip.
When an order like that comes from on high.
Yeah. Am I going to say no? I'm not religious, Pete, but if I were to say no, it's not going to work out in my favor.
I think being smited.
Also, I think I'm just sometimes too polite of a guy, even if I didn't want to stay with Jesus.
Yeah, but were you going to say no? I mean, even knowing what you know now, were you going to be like, thanks, but no thanks, because the Hilton up the street, I already booked a room?
Well, I don't book Hiltons. I don't book hotels. So I was going to stay with somebody, and I had options. Like, I know a lot of people in Denmark now, so I might as well just say yes to the first option. Plus, I don't want to be rude. Who am I to say no?
Actually, is there some kind of a Carney traveler code? Like if someone offers, have you ever said no, or are you pretty obligated to say yes?
You are pretty obligated to say yes. So I always say yes unless I actually do have something booked ahead of time or another friend asks first. Then I think you can get away with it.
Is it wrestler code? Should people be writing this down?
They should. And I think it is a little disrespectful if you tell someone like, oh, hey, you can crash at my house, and they tell you no, but they don't have a plan. Like, that's kind of shady,
Surely there's caveats if you have some kind of a weird history about, banging their sister or something.
I mean, there probably are, but I've never done anything like that before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I say, sure, I'll crash with Jesus. Now, also, to flash back to 7 months ago, I did spend one night at Jesus' apartment. And Jesus lives in a place in town called Nørrebro, which is like the North Bronx of Copenhagen, which is where I spent most of my last week. I got to know the area really well. It's a really good part of town to stay in. I hear it's actually not the best part of town, but I really like staying in that part of town because I know where everything is.
Because you're one of those hippie bastards.
Yeah, sure. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, like, sure, I'll stay with Jesus. Like, that's convenient. It's more convenient than staying with my friend Jesper, who, to my knowledge, still lives in a protected park with no electricity, no running water, no toilet.
Yeah, so it's either Jesper or the house of your Lord.
Yeah, so I might as well get some enlightenment.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah, and atone. So I said, sure. This is at the end of my 3-week trip. So I have 2 weeks and almost 2.5 weeks of going to all these awesome places, staying with some friends. I stayed with some hostels, and I go ahead and decide to fly to Copenhagen here last second. I get to the airport. My buddy Jesper meets me there. And then we hop on the metro, and then we go to a bus, and we hop on a bus. And I'm like, man, I don't know exactly where we're going, but I feel like we're not going to Jesus' apartment.
Ooh, you were thinking you were heading toward damnation as opposed to salvation?
Yeah, exactly. But I know, like, Jesper has led me into some, I don't want to say scary situations, some dark, dreary looking places with no light. So I'm not going to question him.
That sounds real ominous.
Yeah, he has. Like, when we stayed at his place with no electricity or running water or anything, it was miles of a walk into like a park with no light. So we were going down dirt roads and gravel roads. Like, I think most people would be scared. I wasn't, though, because Jesper is my boy.
I'm pretty sure Jesper didn't need any organs.
Yeah, he's not going to kill me. He would kill someone that's easier to kill. That's actually the basis for most of my travel. I'm going to say yes to a lot of things, knowing that if someone were going to kill, they were going to pick someone easier to kill.
You're like Jean-Claude Van Damme in Hard Target.
So I dated this girl for a short period of time, a year and a half ago or something. And one of the first things she'd asked was, can you make me harder to kill? Or something like that is how she put it when she was asking me for workout advice. It was like she said she wanted to be harder to kill. And I really respected that. I've always remembered it. We still hang out sometimes. She's awesome.
Was that a turn on?
Yeah.
It's got to be, right?
It was. Yeah, totally. And she's a badass. And in the last year and a half, she's gotten successfully harder to kill. I'll text her to make sure that that's the actual way she phrased it. Anyway, so I realize, oh man, I guess we're not going to Norbra. We get off a bus and then we start walking. And we walk like 2 more miles into the darkness, down a gravel road and down a cobblestone road at one point, which is like 1 lane. I don't know if cars are supposed to be on it.
If this story doesn't lead to salvation, it's awful disappointing, because the picture you're painting now, I was being called to Jesus, and I was traveling through the dark, the wilderness. I had no idea where I was.
It's up to you and the listener to determine if this is a metaphor or reality. We're walking. Eventually, we come around a corner, and just out of my peripheral, I see a small fire and 2 dudes standing next to it. Not unlike 2 dudes in New York City might be standing around a bin with a fire in it.
Now, is this fire on the ground in a barrel? What are we talking here?
It's in like a fire pit.
Oh, okay.
A small fire pit.
So it's not like you were in California experiencing the forest fire or anything.
No, not quite. We're walking, and I think we're going to walk this other direction, and then I just hear someone yell, Jake. And I look over, and one of the 2 men around the fire is Jesus.
Jesus!
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, hey. So
you didn't use this opportunity to just exclaim, Jesus!
I mean, I should have. See, it wasn't until this week that I called him Jesus very much, because I called him Rasputin. That was normal to me.
Gotcha.
So we walk up to Jesus, and he's just in front of this building, this like 4-story brick, old school looking building. And I know damn good and well, this is not Jesus's apartment in Norbra.
This is not the house of the Lord.
Yeah. So we're walking up, and Jesper's explaining where we are. He's like, oh yeah, man, we're in a place they call Theater Island. He's like, it's, miles out in the middle of nowhere. No one really lives here, because you can't really like quote unquote live here, but it's emerging as kind of like a arts area and like a cultural area.
They're going to gentrify this disgusting place, but later, not now. Is that what he's saying?
I don't mean it's. I don't think it's ever going to be gentrified. You just can't be. Oh, by the way, when we're walking up to this place, we pass a couple other buildings that apparently are art centers now or something like that, but they're broken down industrial buildings. And there are 2 or 3 like buses outside, and they're storage containers, like cargo units that are just painted like really elaborately. One with like kind of creepy looking ghosts and stuff on it.
They look like seamen wearing crowns. I don't mean like in the Navy. I mean they're little white
ghostly seamen men.
Right.
Yeah. But like you said, they were smiling, so it's less creepy.
Right. It was less threatening, but still mildly threatening.
If they were angry, that's intimidating.
That's true.
Yeah. Angry little seamen with crowns on.
The royal seaman.
Jesper's explaining like, oh yeah, it's kind of like an emerging arts district. I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird because it's hard as hell to get out here. Like, doesn't seem easy at all.
Got to suffer for your art, bro.
Yeah. I mean, a starving artist, suffering artist makes sense to me. I'm one of them. So we're walking up and he's like, yeah, Jesus, lives here in the basement. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, the first floor and second floor, they do a lot of theater performances and art stuff. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, people live here. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay.
We got to describe this a little bit. Like what I'm seeing is like the picture you showed me, a big brick building that looks like it was maybe a university or something, like maybe not that fancy, but a big brick building anyway.
Yeah, definitely not fancy. So I don't know what this building used to be. It could have been something in World War II though, because it's right next to legitimate World War II bunkers, like underground bunkers that we can go in and hang out that will withstand against like massive bomb strikes.
Please tell me you ventured into said bunker and like partook in mind-altering drugs or something.
If I wanted to take part in mind-altering drugs, I could have done it at this building with my new friends because there was mind-altering drugs being done.
Allegedly, yeah, because it's illegal in this part of town. And if you want to do other stuff, you better venture to Christiania, which is conveniently about a 2.5 mile walk. Oh, right
Theater
nearby.
Island. Yeah. So like maybe 3 miles on a good day, Which, of course, I went back to Christiania, too. It's great. They have a new creepy wooden statue type thing that you can jump up into its arms to get your picture taken, and it's like it's cradling you like a baby.
Because there's nothing more than one would want in their family album or something than being cradled by some creepy wooden statue.
Sure. You're already in Christiania. It's not going to get weirder.
I don't actually know if it does or not. I'm going to have to contemplate that.
I don't know. But Christiania, still great. Still cool. You still do whatever you want. Just no hard drugs. I'm like, okay, cool. So we walk up. I start talking to Jesus. By the way, Jesus, great guy. Love him to death. Really hard to understand what he's saying, though. He just kind of laughs all the time, and it's kind of like a creepy laugh. So it's kind of scary. But he's always laughing. You know what I mean?
So it's not an accent thing. It's just a laughing thing.
He has what I would call an accent, but it's not an accent. It's just the way he speaks. Very hard to understand.
So like how Mike Tyson doesn't necessarily have an accent.
It's just the way he speaks. And Jesus is an older fellow. Imagine like the toughest roadie sound tech dude who's been with Metallica since the beginning. But when he started with Metallica in like the 80s, he was already old. But now he's like still doing it in 2019 with Metallica. And that's actually Jesus exactly, because he's a sound tech and like roadie dude who's a master at production. But you can't understand too much of what he's saying, but he's just going to laugh like a psychopath and smile.
Maybe somebody told him once, hey, just nod and smile, like you'll get through it.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, man, I understand. So we're hanging out with Jesus for a while, and he starts telling me about like, oh yeah, he's moving out into this part of town. He still has the apartment, but this is where he's going to be living now. I'm like, oh, okay. And then he starts telling me a few other things, and he's like, yeah, man, do you want to hang out with the fox?
What does that mean? Do you want to hang out with the fox?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is this like a hot chick? Is he inviting women's over?
I didn't know. See, any woman who's going to be here at this time of night on a late Tuesday night, that's subject to me. Like, that's suspect.
Is that like a lot lizard at a truck stop?
Ooh, yeah, exactly. Like a puck slut. So, I'm like, okay, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, the fox. There's a fox. It's like our pet. And then, sure enough, not too long later, this fox just comes up and hangs out with us. Just like a dog would. Like, just comes up and hangs out with us. A legitimate fox.
Like, strolls up, sits down, walks around. Like...
Yep. And they walk inside and they go grab some bones that have some meat on them, and they just feed the fox. Like, you could just pet this fox. He's cool.
That's real weird.
Yeah, I tried to take pictures of it. It was so dark. He did come around in the daytime, but I didn't have my phone on me to pull out and take a picture of him. But he was just a dude.
He was just a dude.
Just a dude. Although they kept saying it was a female. I don't know how they knew. It would also sometimes take some of those scraps and run like 50 yards away into like bushes and drop them. and then it would come back, and then you would just hear like some weird growling. And then they told me that it was taking food to the other foxes, and then they would fight over it. And you could hear the fighting going on.
Why wouldn't the other ones just come out?
I don't know. But apparently they're not as cool with the humans.
Like, wouldn't that be a thing that you'd learn? Like, oh, hey, this other lady fox keeps getting food from these dudes near the trash can fire.
Yeah, I don't know. And then actually a few days later, at one point when I came back up, Jesus was outside, and the fox was legitimately in the doorway of the building, like kind of just walking in and out of like just the entrance. And no one seemed to mind. A few people came out that were obviously like the theater or artsy people, and they were just kind of shocked that there was a fox hanging out there. Yeah.
Well, at least it's abnormal even in other countries.
Yeah, it wasn't like any weirder than it would be here if a fox just came out and hung out with you. So he told me about the fox, but then he also told me about the falcon.
He didn't say you want to hang out with the falcon, did he? And like stuck out his arm with a leather glove?
That would be great. And if there was a person that was going to summon a falcon, it would be Rasputin. Let's be honest.
Nice change.
Yep. But no, the falcon's a human male.
A human person.
Human male.
With a dong.
So then Jesus starts telling me about the falcon. And then a few minutes later, I actually get to meet the falcon. Now, the falcon is, he's Danish fellow, but he's from Greenland.
Donut maker.
Yep. Well, yeah, but he doesn't look like a Danish because he is a native Greenlander.
Like Inuit looking kind of thing, or whatever's non-offensive for that?
Yeah, so he would be like a Native American, but a native Greenlander, which, yeah, would you consider Inuit?
I mean, I probably would, but that might just be my racist, patriarchal,
like
whatever
Northern
shame.
Canada, Alaskan people are Inuit, right?
Right.
So it makes sense that Greenland would be that, right?
What with Pangea and whatnot, I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah, so Inuit-ish?
Yeah, whatever you are that doesn't get us crap. Like, that's the thing.
And that's what falcon is. So falcon has long native Inuit hair and glasses, and he was wearing a jacket, and it was like just down past his crotch, and it looked like he was wearing no pants. So he has completely bare legs and then sandals on, and it is 32 degrees. It's freezing outside.
He sounds like a dude who should be living in some abandoned, like, theater building.
Yeah, for sure. And it also didn't make me doubt his credentials of being from Greenland, because it's freezing there all year long.
Yeah, and Mr. No Pants in 30-degree weather was just loving life.
Yeah, even though the Greenland, which is covered in ice, as Mighty Ducks has taught us, the ice is melting. This isn't good.
How much?
Global warming's real.
Okay. How much ice?
Side note, I mean, a decent amount of ice is melting. But the whole island's just ice. The fact that any of the island, even 1%, is no longer ice is a problem.
I mean,
It's very north, Pete.
no, I get you. Man, I want to get slightly political, but I won't. I don't think people who deny climate change are like flat earthers. I think they're just saying, hey.
They're a step up from flat earthers, barely.
Yeah, but everyone knows it's happening. There's just difference of opinion on how it should be best corrected, or how much maybe certain countries play a role.
Well, how can you argue? People still argue against it.
I hope those people are the outliers, because if they're not the outliers, then you just can't have logical conversations with people.
Well, yeah, a significant amount.
They should find Jesus.
Anyway, yeah, go talk to him. Falcon found Jesus. So Falcon also lives in the basement. 3 dudes apparently live in this basement. Also, going into the basement, it seems to me like this is a place people aren't supposed to live. 0 people are supposed to live in this basement.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that I went downstairs and there were just a handful of rooms that were very small. They're the size of the room we're in now, your podcast studio, which pretty good size podcast studio, not a great apartment.
Fair statement.
Yep. So to me, it looks like this is just an artist's space, because I've been to so many different arts places and I know what an artist's space looks like in, say, the Harrison Center downtown.
You had to go there, didn't you?
I'm just saying, a cool looking artist studio, don't live there. Bad idea. So, and also it's there's no bathroom in these rooms. There is a shared bathroom down the hall and a shared shower down the hall, shared kitchen down the hall.
But I guess at least it's only 3 dudes, but I've roomed with other dudes. Like, that's not fun.
I've heard there's a rumor that there might be a 4th person living down there. I didn't see a 4th person. I met the Swedish guy. I just said hello a couple times. He seemed real awkward. Maybe he's supposed to not be there, quote unquote, like Falcon.
Yeah, the landlord is going to be pissed.
Yeah, that's what I want to know is like, did they pay rent? And at one point, Jesus said something about, oh, it's cool if you turn the heat up real high, I don't have to pay it.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Like, do you pay anything? But he has a key.
Man, so you said it's an art or a theater.
Yeah, it's like a theater building.
So I guess maybe maybe it exists as a theater building and these guys are pseudo homeless. So they're like, oh yeah,
Well,
you can stay in the basement.
Several of my friends I've met in Denmark squat
Really?
places. Yeah. Well, and then Sean the Freak is homeless. So like anywhere he stays, he's kind of squatting or just crashing on someone's couch. Oh, by the way, when I walked up to Jesus, he was with another guy and the guy acted like he knew me, but it was so dark I could barely see him. He had glasses on. I thought it was Sean the Freak. So I went to hug Sean the Freak, who's this crazy 80s punker that told me all the stories about how he's like banned from entering the United States and fighting Nazis and stuff.
Yeah, Mr. Christianity himself.
Yeah, Mr. Christiana. And but it wasn't. So I just like hugged this dude who I ended up actually not liking because he was like drunk and just started pissing me off. This night and a few nights later, I just don't like him. I don't know his name. It's not Sean the Freak. Screw him. Anyway.
Yeah, he's also not the Falcon, who I understand. Much better guy.
All right. So the Falcon, though. And let's just say, for all intents and purposes, this is a fictional person I'm making up for the rest of the story. I'm not saying this person exists if anyone's looking for him.
And maybe nobody is. Maybe nobody is.
Maybe no one is. Allegedly.
This is all hypothetical.
Yeah. Maybe I didn't meet a guy called the Falcon. But if I did, and I created this story, it's a very interesting story. So Falcon works for the Danish government in several aspects. One of them being he's a chef. He's a chef for like foreign ministry. But also he's a geologist. And he actually works in Greenland dealing with different things.
Maybe precious resources.
Yeah, we'll just say, yeah, precious resources. We won't say which ones, but ones that in theory other countries could want to buy Greenland just to obtain possession of.
Right, commodities. You know, he's in commodities.
Yeah, so let's just say Greenland might have some natural resources and minerals that could be used for tremendous acts of war. And well, sometimes...
that narrows it down.
Yeah, who knows? And I'm just saying, there's probably several, but this is a big one. And maybe the president of some democracy that we live in might want to buy it to have an endless supply of murder material.
Allegedly, or he just likes cake.
Sure. Yep. So Falcon deals with some of this stuff in Greenland and told me about all of his political reasoning and everything he stands for, everything he stands against, and the fact that he lives here because he doesn't live here. Because it's important that no one knows where he lives.
Yeah, he probably didn't have to give a name and social security number to get a couple references and that kind of thing to get a room here.
Yeah, exactly. Does Falcon even have a key? I don't know.
He just kind of flies in and flies out.
Sure. Do I have a key? No. But could I live in Theater Island here? Probably.
Man, you think they had a spot for you there?
Probably. There were several rooms downstairs that I don't think people were in.
One of them could be Dr. Jacob Bowman's room.
It could be. Although if I live out there, I'm buying a bike.
When you say bike, like bicycle, or you mean like moped like Cambodia?
So I'm going to buy something to get me the 3 to 4 miles into town that I would have to walk every day, because you have to walk 3 or 4 miles into and out of town every day. It's not ideal. I wish I lived in Norbra.
Because you're a trendy, classy betch?
Well, if I was a trendy, classy betch, I might want to live in Theater Island.
Oh, well, it's up and coming.
Yeah, it's because it's the place I want to be if I'm an artist. Yeah, so that's the Falcon. And you know what? By the way, great guy. I totally believe everything he said. At no point do I think this guy was lying.
Or this person who was never there.
The figment of my imagination that I could be possibly making up for this story, to me, telling the truth.
So both a fox and a falcon.
The fox and the falcon. They're my new friends. I made a lot of friends on this trip. And later I did see Sean the Freak.
Did you let him know that he was drunk and a jackass last time you saw him?
He's drunk and a jackass every time I see him, actually. And the 2 days I spent with him, oh man, I had to try and avoid him just a little bit because a lot of functional alcoholics there.
Nice.
Yep. But that was where I stayed at least for a moment in Denmark, except for the 2 nights I spent in the building that we wrestled in. I slept in the ring one night.
In the ring?
Yep. It was cold and not comfortable. It was horrible.
Was it everything you thought it would be?
I honestly thought sleeping in the ring would be a lot more comfortable. And also, there was heat in this building. Maybe it automatically shuts off at midnight or something, because I tried to go to bed at like midnight in the ring and then started waking up at like 1 and then 1:30 and then 2 and then 2:15 and then 2:30 all the way until about 8 a.m. when I finally got up because it was freezing cold, like under 32 degrees. All I had on was my jacket.
That sucks.
I had like a baby blanket over just my feet. I put my socks back on. Yeah, it was bad. But I slept in the ring. That was cool. It's a story.
That's about the most wrestler thing you could do.
Yeah, the next night I slept on a gymnastics mat in another room that had heat.
Probably a good call.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a good call. All right, well, that sums up part 1 of some of my European travel tales here.
Euro Vacation, part 1.
It's great to be back.
Assuming you are back. Because a lot of this might be even imaginary.
Yeah, some of this stuff might not have happened. I could have made up every part of this story. Who knows?
Well, you were at Britain. You put on a show there. I mean, were you even gone? I don't know.
Who knows? Who's to say? I don't know. I could have fabricated everything and then geotagged all my Instagram posts.
Smart move, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So at Off the Cliff Pod, at Multimedia Hustle is Pete, at Jake Oman 2012 is me, and we will catch you next week.